Welcome to this video, Game 6 coverage of the World Championship match between defending champion Vichy Anand and Magnus Carlsen from Norway. Yeah, and Game 6 is obviously very important as Carlsen has won Game 5 and is in the lead before the game. The immediate game after that, and Anand now with the white pieces certainly needs to try something to immediately level the score again. In recent World Championship matches in 2010 against Topalov and also in 2012, he immediately managed to to score a win after he lost the game against Gelfand. He lost, if I'm not mistaken, Game 8. I think it was Game 8. And then immediately struck back the next day, or the next game. I think it was the next day, really. There was no rest day between that. And against Topalov he lost the first game but immediately won the second game. So very important game today. Let's see what happens. Vichy playing e4. And we have the Rui again. And we have the Berlin again. This seems Carlsen's choice for the match, not going for his usually slightly more frequent choice of a6. He very often plays this main line Rui, and I have a reason why I'm putting this on the board. His preferred line is knight b8, the so-called Breyer variation, and he already has played more than once this against Anand, losing I think at least one very nice game. Okay, but this is far more complicated, far more pieces are on the board than in the Berlin endgame, so it seems he has made the conscious decision to play more simplifying and in general simpler lines to avoid any possible home prep, and also try to steer the game more into his favored channels, like simplified positions and more strategically inclined positions. Okay, now important moment. Vichy is playing d3, not the end game again, and this is already a slight, I must say, a slight concession. And Anand actually has an excellent score in the end game, but he really didn't get anywhere in the game before that, in game 4. So d3 at least puts an end to the immediate end game and gets into a middle game that is more complicated. However, this is not a move that Black really fears, I guess. Bishop c5, normal move. c3. Yeah, white can never really win this pawn. Yeah, why is that? Look at f2. Black can even play queen d4, and not even bishop f2. Queen d4 is the stronger move, threatening mate and attacking the knight, immediately winning. So this is not possible. c3 actually prepares this as it controls d4, but black can still castle here. You don't need to immediately cover e5. If white played castles, but if white now takes the pawn after b takes, knight takes e5, black can play d5, and this has been tried before. It's maybe not immediately apparent, but this is already quite comfortable for black. It's a matter of development. White has lost some time with this pawn grabbing operation, and for instance knight c6 is even outright bad because of queen e8. Yeah, the knight needs to move, and if it returns de4, yeah, black has regained a pawn, threatening to take with the tempo. And after castling bishop a6, you see that all white's pieces are sleeping on the queen side, while black has everything in play. So castle is just better. And now Carlsen plays rook e8. He has played mostly d6 before in this position, but rook e8 is of course a normal move. It covers e5. It doesn't commit d6 so early. Anand now rook e1. Normal looking. It's not the most frequent move in the position, but yeah, the most normal move in the world. So why not? Preparing the standard Rui maneuver and overprotecting e4. In case you play d4 later, this pawn might need some protection. Okay, a6, bishop a4, and b5. Yeah, black, it's debatable if black must play this move. One point is, if you don't play this move and you go d6, then you always have to reckon with this pawn push. It's not entirely clear actually, but you don't really want to do that. So just b5 is fine, attacking the bishop. It retreats, and now d6. Yeah, this is a position that you can easily compare to those arising from the yeah, I'm not quite sure how the variation is called. This bishop c5 line via 3a6, sometimes called the Tkachev variation or the Neo-Archangels variation. In those kind of lines, c3 and d3 is not considered especially dangerous, but at least you get a full game, not simplifying to an endgame early. Now Anand played, and rather quickly played, bishop g5. And it turns out that this move is actually a novelty. The position here had been played a couple of times before, but bishop g5 is new. Knight bd2, in fact, had been played before, and yeah, by Anand against Levon Aronian earlier this year in the Paris tournament. This Lochen, I cannot pronounce that. This tournament, which was played in Moscow, in St. Petersburg and Paris. Yeah, knight bd2, but now Anand is going for bishop g5, the typical pin. This pin move gains a bit in strength after the bishop is outside the pawn chain, simply because black has a hard time to remove this pin. If the bishop would be on e7, this isn't a problem at all. But here it's difficult. If you move the queen somewhere, like here, and not a good move anyway, but you know, white will double the pawns. You don't really want to see that. And yeah, how to break the pin, it's not easy. You can think about this kind of maneuver, but I'm not sure that Carlsen really wants to weaken the queen side, the king side, so early. Quite often this isn't a real problem, but he took a while now to think, and then played bishop to e6. Funny enough, bishop g5 is one of Carlsen's favorite moves in the Rui Lopez, so this is a bit cheeky to play this as a novelty. Alright, bishop e6 after about 20 minutes, so it took him a while to decide on this. And now Anand played knight bd2 after some thought, and to be honest, this I find quite puzzling from both sides actually, because well, it was clear that if the Berlin is the main choice against e4, then d3 was certainly a move that they needed to reckon with. And in this position, Anand had reached before this position. He played knight bd2, alright, but certainly bishop g5 is a move that you should check in your preparation, especially considering that Carlsen is playing bishop g5 all the time in the Rui. So he is himself very much aware of this move. And still he took 20 minutes to play bishop e6, and Anand then took 10 minutes for knight bd2. I mean, bishop e6 is not really a spectacular move, so it's a bit strange, this this time usage. They really worked out things at the board or needed to recollect some things. Hard to tell. To be honest, I have some problems with understanding yeah, Anand's opening play here. But it's a personal thing thing because yeah, I play e5 for a long time as black, and I get those type of positions all the time and always think, okay, well, what the heck is white doing? Is simply not much happening. And yeah, in fact, I think the black already has an equal game here. Don't see any troubles. Of course, it's not easy to find something great against the #1 player in the world, but I don't know. It feels like if this is the big preparation to win a game, it feels a little bit weak. Maybe some entirely different opening move would have been interesting. All right, still it's a full game, and Carlsen played h6 and took on b3. So simplifying the position, Anand recaptured a takes b3. This is the normal way to recapture. It makes sure that this rook on a1 has got something to do, and the double pawn is not really an issue. Remember that I showed you the Breyer variation of the mainline Rui with knight b8. Here we go. This is Carlsen's move, and it took some minutes, but then decided to redeploy the knight via b8 to d7. This is a very good maneuver, I think, and a key thing, or a key maneuver that makes black's game really easy now. The point at least is it loses some time, of course, with knight b8 to d7, but the knight on c6 is really not a well-placed piece. Have a look. It looks at those two squares. Yeah, they're both protected. It cannot really ever go to e7 because this is just unbelievably ugly and also bad. So the knight can never really go anywhere. If the queen moves, we have this kind of business. The pin is still a problem, and yeah, what else to make sure you get rid of the pin? g5 has lost lots of appeal after the light squared bishops are off, weakening those squares. So yeah, this is just a good move. It redeploys the knight and makes sure that you don't have any issues with this pin. And I think here it's simply an equal position now. Simply not much going on. I have a hard time to suggest any big improvements for white. It just seems like there's nothing going on. He's playing some standard moves. Yeah, this we'll see later. This is the idea of knight h2, and now Magnus deploys the queen to e6, and this is also a very good maneuver and something to yeah, to remember if you play the Rui as black. It's very nicely placed on e6 actually. It goes out of any tempos. It breaks the pin, so now the knight on f6 is actually free to move, and it also keeps an eye on this slightly weakened pawn. So quite comfortable already. Yeah, Anand now played b4, trying to fix the pawn, which immediately was answered by a5. Black does not want to risk having a backward a pawn all the time, so he just decides to get rid of it. And now knight g4. Yeah, this doesn't really lead to too much, but yeah, it's hard to suggest improvements, as already mentioned. Bishop to b6, and now Anand went for this simplification. He probably at this point was okay with the draw. The opening has clearly not brought any advantage, so let's just get on with it and make a draw, he probably was thinking.
Check.
Okay, some trades, and now if white would manage to play knight d5, he even would be better, but of course there is, oops, not this one.
Check.
There's a problem on f2, so not knight f5. He played queen d4, This yeah, activates the queen a bit, and it has a slight trap. If black plays c6, which would be quite a good move to control d5, white has the good move queen d7, which attacks those sensitive pawns. White is clearly better here. So black cannot play c6, but he has a simple and good solution. Just hack this knight off. F takes e, of course, no other move here. And queen e7, just a good move. All simple, nothing fancy, but they're all strong and good. Queen e7, yeah, getting out of the f file. And commentators were suggesting queen e6 mostly. Yeah, of course, it's dead equal after that, but well, by now you know what Carlsen is thinking. I cannot really lose the game. Why should I make a draw? And he will simply play on. And white has a very slight weakness with this double pawns. It's nothing, yeah, nothing serious really, but it is a slight weakness. And of course, after the win in game 5, it's certainly also a matter of smelling blood. If you know the other side is somewhat weak, somewhat shaken, it's a good idea to try to use it. I won't bring up this image of the wounded tiger, which is okay. So rook f1, using the f file or trying to use it, and c5. This is also one point of this earlier knight c6 retreat. You want to use the c pawn, and now it's time to do so. c5, king h2. It's just a nothing move, okay, but there's nothing to do here. And now c4. This is a typical way to try to fight against those pawns, because now white needs to do something with the d pawn. It cannot stay there, and if it moves, e4 will be weak. So he played d4, the right move. And now you see that e4 is the weakness that black can attack, always based on the fact that you can at some point take here. Here in fact Carlsen played the rook trade, and now queen b7. Here you already could calculate this kind of line. Black has won a pawn, but this is not the end of the world. If we consider, for example, rook a8 check.
Check.
You see that white immediately regains the pawn. So this is just too early to take. Therefore queen b7, intending to take and then take probably on e4 with the rook. Yeah, in this position now Anand played rook d1. He just stays, so to say, sits tight and defends his position. Here also d5 was possible. I'm not sure what what the problem with this move is. It still doesn't change much in this position. Black is still slightly more comfortable, but I don't know. I think that it's difficult now for black to get anything against the pawns. And after a rook trade, I don't know. This looks, for instance, rook a8 looks like
check.
Nothing, because of this queen activation. So rook a8 it probably isn't. Maybe black can play something slow with g6. I don't know. I think d5 was a pretty decent defensive try, but Anand's play is not really bad here. It's not happening much. Okay, those are weak, but it's basically just one weakness. I mean, you could argue that this is a weakness and this is a weakness, both pawns, two weaknesses, but all this is just one complex that is weak, and one weakness usually is not enough to lose a game. So nothing terrible yet has happened. Of course, it's a bit uncomfortable to have this position as white after you started the game with the ambition to try to level the score. Those little improving moves, g6, king to g7, and black has all the time in the world. Yeah, and in this position, this is quite typical, I think, that people, even the best players in the world, have problems sitting on a slightly worse and inferior position and defend passively. Probably the easiest way probably to draw is really to do nothing. Just play, let's say, king somewhere, king here or something, and just stay and let black do something. It's not easy at all for black to improve. You can try this, queen here, and so on. But how do you really make any progress? I don't see it. Anand's decision, however, is very human. So it's not a bad move actually, but it changes the game. He gives up the e4 pawn. Yeah, but in the meantime, or in this process, also exchanges queens. And in fact, with the rook here on d5 attacking the b5 pawn, white has gained some activity. So there basically was a trade of the two weak pawns against the d6 pawn, and white in the process gained activity. So it's really a good trade. Black needed to protect, and rook d6 activating further. Yeah, h4. Yeah, and here maybe black should have played h5 here. It's maybe the slightly stronger move, but hard to say. Carlsen played king f7, and after that Anand, interestingly enough, played h5, sacrificing another pawn, so that he's 2 pawns down. It's probably an okay move. He also could have played in a more, or in a less forcing fashion. It's not bad to just play rook c6, I think. Maybe he was afraid of rook e7. Yeah, the thing is, h5 is still okay, but you try to look for improvements, of course. Okay, black took it. This is better than g5. After g5, this whole complex is weak, and you even have to reckon with this king marching in. So not a good move. Just take it. 2 pawns are 2 pawns, even if the pawn structure is slightly wrecked. Okay, rook d5. Yeah, we see that black is tied to this pawn. How is he going to make any progress? Not easy. f5 and king h4. Yeah, and now Carlsen, as usual, does everything to continue the game and try to set problems. He just jettisons the b pawn, trying to activate the rook. And of course, white needs to take it. No debate here. He took the pawn.
Check.
And black now for the pawn got the activity. The rook now on e4 is really doing things and not just defending a pawn passively. So just well played, I think. But still, there is not much happening. White is playing rook b8 and activates check. The rook here to give checks from the back rank. And after king h5, we I think have a critical position now, because I believe that with another move he played rook f8, yeah, which is not spoiling much, but to me it seems that rook c8 is the easier way to play, just keeping the pawn on c4 attacked and asking black, okay, how are you going to make any progress here? If black plays a king move, there's the check again, and of course after king h5 we would have had a draw. Black can go forward, but it's not clear that this is really helping if white just returns to attack the c pawn. At some point you even threaten to take the h pawn, and again if the king moves back we have a repetition again. I think that this was the stronger way to defend. This still is okay, but it allows a final try, and This is Carlsen's really outstanding ability, besides many others, that he keeps finding things in positions that are looking completely dead. And again, he's finding some things here that really don't, that really are not apparent to the even to very strong opponents. Just like that. Okay, rook f4, and the idea we see soon. Black now gets to play
check
this maneuver, which wouldn't have been possible in the other setup, because then the white rook always attacked the c-pawn. As mentioned, nothing terrible has happened yet, but black has made slight progress.
Check.
The check. And the king invaded. This was the idea. But at first you think, oh wait, is this really good? What about rook c8? This was played, attacking the pawn, and black has no way to defend the pawn. Today's game was the first game that I had the opportunity to watch the live broadcast, and the two commentators, two strong GMs, Susan Porter and I actually forgot the name, I'm sorry. There was an Indian grandmaster, I think it was Ramesh, but I'm not 100% sure. They didn't have the names in there. They mentioned them, but they didn't have any subtitles that gave the names. They also couldn't work out at first what was going on. But it's a great idea what Magnus played here, because have a look at this. It is attacked. Okay, black plays king e3, or played quickly, rook c4 and f4. And at first you think, wait, isn't this terribly risky for black? He's got those three split pawns, and white has got two connected passes. Isn't this maybe even risky for black? And the great thing is he absolutely perfectly calculated that those pawns are not dangerous. And in fact, in this position, exactly this position, white only has one move to draw. It's really amazing. Absolutely, with computers nowadays you can really calculate this to the end. With the human brain is also capable, but needs some time, obviously, and it also needs to be done, as we experience now. The only move that draws here is b4. It's probably in a way the most logical move, because you push your pawn immediately. But the amazing thing is that every other move loses. b4 draws, and I can give you the line h3. This is the important point here. Black jettisons this pawn and then retreats, let's say here, to free the f-pawn. But now his pawns are quick enough to get enough counterplay. White can go here. This is just one possible line. It's hard to show them all, but the difference to the game is that the rook here stays on the 6th rank and can harass the king with checks, and this guarantees the draw. It's very difficult now for me to show all the lines. It's leading to a draw before. Believe me, if you have some time on your hands, you can try to play out some sample lines. However, you already guessed it, Anand didn't play this. He played rook a4, and if you see in the time, he had about 30 minutes left, and he only spent a little more than a minute, and pretty quickly he recognized that he made a terrible mistake with this move. Certainly calculating something wrongly, not quite sure what it was. They didn't really manage to in the press conference they didn't ask that. I mean, it's a terrible job for a journalist to ask that. What on earth did you miss there? But it would have been interesting to know, just to understand better what was going on. Yeah, after rook a4, h3 was played, and rook g6, and now the f-pawn runs, and there are no checks. The rook is simply stupidly placed on a4. It cannot give any checks, and therefore white needs to play a non-helping move like c4, and now the f-pawn just runs home. There's no way to prevent it. You can check this kind of idea.
Check.
And that's it. It simply promotes. No way to stop it. Yeah, he played b4, f2, and yeah, it's all very sad. The pawn after rook g1 is unstoppable. I mean, sad not being yeah, unobjective here. It's just a bit sad to see. Yeah, it's a bit comparable to boxing. Maybe if you have two great fighters fighting for a couple of rounds, and then it's always feels a bit sad to see one of them going down. At least it's my feeling. If you have the idea that they both did fight well, and then one of them has to lose. Yeah, but this is an amazing feature of Carlsen's play. Out of nothing, he managed to create a position where really b4 is the only move drawing, and this is just great. I mean, it's out of nothing. He created some problem, and Anand didn't solve it. I mean, he had 30 minutes, but it's problem after problem after problem, and they don't manage to solve them, his opponents. Okay, that means Carlsen is leading 4-2, leading by 2 games. We have a rest day tomorrow, and then game 7 will be played on Monday the 18th, with again Anand having white. This is the color change in the middle of the match. We have 6 games played now out of 12, and obviously I'm not going to lie to you, the match is almost decided. +2 is very hard to come back from, and I say the only chance is that somehow Anand wins in the next game, but I don't really see it. I think this game was terrible from a psychological point of view, playing a 60 move in a position where not much was happening really, and then you give it away. So let's hope Anand plays a good game 7, to simply keep the match competitive. I'm not saying he should necessarily win or whatever, but just let's hope that he's not breaking down completely, and we have some more interesting games. Alright, thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed it. I'll be back on Monday with game 7 coverage.